You've just entered the RCP Safety Zone for your daily glimpse into the exciting world of RCP factory safety. I'm your host, Dan Monahan, and thanks for joining us. Today, you're in for a real treat as we highlight the one thing in RCP factories that can make the difference between life and death, between fingers and no fingers, and saying that hurts or that was close. That one thing, you've guessed it, safety. Now in our first segment, Factory Fall Stars, we take a look at who's done the best job of preventing falls this season. My pick, production operator Philip Taylor, who's been demonstrating some impressive moves on the plant floor. Let's take a look. Look at that. He sees the anchor point on the aerial lift is wide open, and he really nails that clip latch to prevent a fall that could have cost him the season. Let's see that again, this time in slow motion. That is beautiful execution. Now check out that vision. He's already tied off, but he knows that being aware of his surroundings is his first line of defense for preventing a fall. You just can't get anything past this guy. Now, judging by his performance, Philip has an outstanding chance of making the safety all-star team. Now let's take a look at what's trending in the world of factory safety. We asked you to post pictures of your favorite confined spaces. Let's take a look at some of the best. RCP team member Mark Struble eliminated all hazards before entering this confined space, tweeting, "Definitely not designed for continued worker occupancy. Talk about limited entry and exits." At Safety Forever sent us this photo, a great reminder to never enter any confined space unless it can be declassified and eliminated of all hazards. Now, last week we asked you, the viewers, about the hazards that must be eliminated before entering a confined space. Let's take a look at the results. Let's see what the choices were. Removing hazardous or potentially hazardous atmosphere, materials which could engulf an entrance, walls that converge inward, unguarded machines or exposed live wires, and of course, all of the above. 98% of you picked the correct answer, all of the above, while 2% of you need to study up. We'll be right back after this.
Tired of the same old boring protective equipment? It's time to go fierce with the Big Cat Safety Collection. We got cheetahs, we got tigers, we got leopards. Call within the next 30 minutes and you'll receive a complimentary reflective camo safety vest. Act now. This Big Cat personal protective equipment is only available for a limited time.
Welcome back to RCP Safety Zone. Now let's take a look at the perfect way to avoid a mobile equipment accident in a segment we call The Breakdown. Today, we're going to feature forklift driver LeBron Freeman coming around a blind curve. First, let's take a look at his approach. Notice here how he drives with his forks down. That is great form. Next, he gives a quick honk and comes to a complete stop. Now, see this pedestrian, Lisa Brainer? Okay, let's stop it right here. Now, she's not distracted, and her eyes are on the path. Very nice. Okay, she looks right, poking her head around the blind corner, and see that wave? She knows that just because she can see LeBron does not mean he can see her. That is a heads-up play right there by both of them. Finally, Lisa crosses, followed by LeBron taking the turn nice and slow. Just how you draw it up, a perfectly executed mobile equipment play. Now let's highlight the machines we work with. There are a lot of measures in place to keep us free from harm, so let's take a look at some of the top defensive plays from the factories this week. Check out the brilliant form of the machine guard, protecting that arm from what could have been a terrible injury. That is a perfect example of why guards are so necessary on machines with moving parts. Let's watch another defensive masterpiece. I love how this guard just stops that worker right in her tracks. Without it there, she could have walked right into that palletizing robot. That's exactly what the guards are there to do. And now let's go to the converting machine where we see Nathan going to turn it on. But look at that last second connection. It is a huge stop by the lock here that probably just saved that maintenance worker's life. Now that's what I call great defense. I've heard more times than I can count that defense wins championships. Here, it saves lives. Now let's examine the keys to a solid machine guard defense. Never operate machinery without the proper machine guards. And never bypass guards. Always ensure machinery is off and all energy has been dissipated before performing maintenance. Finally, remember to lock out to make sure the machine isn't accidentally turned on. And now it's time to wrap up this edition of RCP Safety Zone, but before we sign off, here's our top 5 safety plays. Starting off at number 5, Philip defied gravity by refusing to fall off his aerial lift. With safety play number 4, at Safety Forever's photo with the clear opening and exit, she's got this safety thing down to a science. At spot number 3, Janet's lockout, huge safety play, stopping her teammate from turning on that machine while she was in there. At number 2, this machine guard prevented an arm amputation. Arms 2, machine 0. And our number 1 play, topping the RCP safety top 5, is the wave. Lisa's simple hand gesture got the forklift driver's attention, preventing a serious collision. And now let's take a minute to switch gears. The most important thing to leave the RCP factory isn't bags or foil. The most important thing to leave this factory is you. This is Dan Monahan reminding you to treat your safety like your life depends on it because, well, it does. See you next time in the RCP Safety Zone.